I'm the one you're looking for.
Get him.
Not gonna question that at all. Not gonna ask why maybe a 100-year-old man is actually 12. Not gonna say something maybe like,
"You're just a child."
Well, you're just a teenager.
Nope, just moving on. Okay. So I've finally seen the new live-action Avatar: The Last Airbender series, and... yeah. It does do some things really well, notably the bending. The first scene is an amazing display of "You want bending? Haha, you got bending!" in a fight between earth and firebenders. And I saw this and just thought, yes, I am in. It feels like the best kung fu films. The martial arts are there, the cinematography, the speed, the effects are amazing. Everything, it nailed it. And then came Sozin's beard. Sozin's beard! Weird tangent, I know. Bear with me, I do have a point here. This is the first thing that made me really think, that's weird. Why is it like that? Okay. Shortly followed by everything else, of course. But it stood out because this is obviously not how a natural beard is meant to look. It's so obviously glued on that it might as well be paper mache. And I guarantee you, the costume hair people who did this know that. They are very good at making beards. This is what they do. The only reason that something like this gets through to production is because of either budget, usually in time, not enough time to do things right, or pressure from higher-ups. Maybe one of the bosses wanted the beard to look like that. Or if those higher-ups changed things last minute, again leading to a time crunch. So which do we think it is? The low budget or the higher-ups meddling too much? Well, and this is only guesswork, mind you, we have just seen the bending, which looks amazing and is obviously incredibly expensive. And assuming the production was properly planned, which it must have been, something this size has to have been planned out correctly, that only leaves higher-ups meddling, which is how you get this kind of a beard. And importantly, these kind of problems are present in every single department of every single piece of media you have ever seen. When you see a film with bad CG, for example, the VFX artists who made it almost always know it's bad. They're doing incredible work under terrible conditions and ridiculous crunch hours. The fact that anything is finished at all is, frankly, a miracle. Everyone is trying the best they can. They're in these industries and departments because they want to make cool things. This is their life. And I think it's worth remembering that moving forward. Sometimes things just fall apart in these productions, and it's usually the fault of the system or those steering it, not the artist on the ground who really wants to feather the edges of that beard and hide the very obvious glue line, but oh no, we're shooting in 5 minutes. Damn! So with that in mind, understanding where the problems normally arise from, let's talk about the writing. Because this is not one auteur's vision that went weird. This is many hands and several layers of bosses in a giant company writing this thing, that then changes again in pickups and edits. Which is also true for the original, mind you, and like every other big production you've ever seen, so it obviously can work. This time, I just don't think it did. We're not going to go through the whole thing, that's too much. So while there are loads of problems like... why can Aang fly without a glider? Why can he suddenly not fly without a glider? Boomy and Aang riding the post boxes wasn't even mentioned before this. Why do the boxes slide uphill without a bender? Why is Boomy a dick? Is there a forest in Omashu? Why is Zhao middle management? Don't send all of your doctors to fight. Teach them combat when you don't have people actively bleeding. They have more important things to do. So yeah, while there is all of that, and a bunch more, let's focus on one thing they changed in the live-action series. Removing Sokka's sexism. Sokka? No, not Sokka. Not Sokka. Because on the surface, that sounds like a fantastic idea. Less sexism, better world. Right? We don't want one of the main characters to be a bigot. We're meant to like this guy. Now again, this is guesswork, but this sounds like a studio note. Which, if that's the case, it's actually kind of nice that the studio executives didn't think he would be likable with that kind of a flaw. Kinda says maybe our own world is getting a little bit better, actually. No? Progress. But does it work in the series? Well, let's compare the live action to the original. What did his sexism add to the original story? So if you haven't seen the animated series, or you just don't remember, maybe it's been a while, Sokka starts out the story as a hardcore misogynist.
Girls are better at fixing pants than guys, and guys are better at hunting and fighting and stuff like that. It's just the natural order of things.
Very women belong in the kitchen vibes. He then gets repeatedly put in his place until he learns better, especially in episode 4 with the Kyoshi warriors. Character growth, very good. And if that's all it was, you could easily remove it. He can have a different arc. But that's not all that's happening. From the beginning, literally the first line, we see Sokka's bravado and arrogance. Men are better, stronger, tougher. He's a warrior. That means something.
Watch and learn, Katara. This is how you catch a fish.
In the Water Tribe, we fight to the last man standing.
For without courage, how can we call ourselves men?
And we soon find out that's because he has no male role models to follow. All the warriors have left him to go and fight in the war. Literally all of the men, leaving him as the oldest man in the village, tasked with protecting the village, and he's 12. Maybe 13. And there's no one else in his village close to his age other than his sister. In his head, he is alone in protecting this place. His father has given him a mission: keep this place safe, and there's no one else he can rely on to do it. So given that situation, he's grasping at straws, trying to find his place in life. And he settles on ultra male bravado. Be the warrior he thinks his father is. Also bear in mind, when he's made this decision, he still thinks his dad is a superhero. He's that kind of age. And we see him early in the series constantly repeating that he's the best warrior in his village, in charge of protecting the village.
After all, I'm the best warrior in my village.
All to cover how weak he truly feels. Because he doesn't know what he's meant to be doing. He's struggling to find his place in life. Internal conflict right there. Then he travels and meets a group that forces him to face this weakness head on. The Kyoshi warriors.
Wow, best warrior, huh? In your whole village.
Women who his head thinks should be weak, but who can wipe the floor with him. Repeatedly. And faced with this, his reaction is what makes him such an amazing character. He kneels and apologizes and admits his own faults, which he then also carries through after the fact. That's character growth. And he's not just saying that his sexism is wrong here, though he does literally say sorry for that. He's also admitting that he is not the great warrior that he claims to be, and that he needs help. Which is such a huge step for someone of his situation and upbringing to take, and which sets up the entire rest of his character arc, especially in Book 3, where he again kneels to a master, apologizes, admits his own faults, only to this time overcorrect and claim he isn't even worthy at all. And because he already had the justified apology at the start of the series, and he's grown so much since then, been through so much hardship, this time he's met with a male role model, the kind that for years he craved, who looks at him and says, "No, you are worthy."
You are more worthy than any man I have ever trained.
Giving him the healthy confidence he needs to become the leader he always pretended to be. All built on his own merits, not by putting others down. In the beginning of the series, it's all bravado and talk, but by the end, he walks the walk. All foreshadowed by a very obvious flaw, the sexism, that can trigger the start of this growth. But wait! What else is it doing? See, it's not really the Kyoshi warriors as a whole that do the humbling that first time. It's their leader, Suki. And at first she sees him for the sexist pig he is, until he obviously changes. He apologizes and does the work. He listens and learns from her. He not only wears the clothes that she knows he'll feel uncomfortable in, but he also finds the strength in them. All to the point that he can just about start to match her on some skills, which I'd also wager she doesn't generally get from boys, in a culture where women are the traditional fighters. So this cute boy apologizes for being a dick, humbles himself, listens, learns, sees things from her perspective to be able to dance in her arena where no other guy can? That's like the healthiest meet cute in the world! Of course she falls for him, and he for her. Their relationship is built on mutual respect. And that not only sets up the relationship, but also Suki as an amazing warrior and character who comes back later and is in the gang for much of the final act. Look how much foreshadowing this thing is doing. We've got Sokka's arc and Suki, both their relationship and her as a character. But wait! I forgot the biggest thing, because it's not even Sokka we're really setting up here. It's Katara and the Water Tribe. See, Sokka didn't get sexism from nothing. He got it from his tribe. The Water Tribe is sexist. We see that in episode 1. If it wasn't, it wouldn't have been only the men going off to war, and it wouldn't have been Katara's understood job to do laundry while Sokka plays soldier.
Have you ever smelled your dirty socks?
All of which actually stands in stark contrast to their opposite element, the Fire Nation, who doesn't really care about gender as much as they do bending ability. Hence why Azula is so prized as a warrior. Which is just kinda cool that that dichotomy is in there. But back to the Water Tribe, we see right after this line,
Leave it to a girl to screw things up.
Katara gets angry. Rightfully so, causing her waterbending to release Aang from the ice and start the whole series. Not only foreshadowing Katara's incredibly powerful abilities as a waterbender, but also her character as a force of nature, and the main conflict she'll face at the end of the first season, which almost quotes that scene.
I'm embarrassed to be related to you! No way am I apologizing to a sour old man like you!
The Northern Water Tribe doesn't train women as waterbenders. They're only allowed to heal, because they're even more sexist than the South. Which leads to one of the best fights in the whole show. And because we see Katara constantly working, culminating in this incredible display of power, followed by even more learning from Parku, her starting the next season as a master capable of training Aang makes perfect sense. Look how much foreshadowing is going on here, how much is being set up with this one character flaw that doesn't even last that long. And every single thing is paying off. Let's be clear, the animated series is not perfect, but there is a very good reason that it's so beloved. Now that's what we have to live up to. So, with that in mind, how'd the live action go? Well, Katara sets Aang free by just sort of waterbending near him, unless that was him, not her. It's a little vague, no character moment. Sokka has other boys his age to hang out with, so he's not alone. And the Kyoshi Warriors has Suki see Sokka and just go, "Ooh, pretty boy." He never humbles himself, he never kneels. His only insecurity is his father doubting him, which might pay off in later seasons, like it might legit work, but we'll have to see because it doesn't really do a lot in this one. He and Suki don't spend nearly as much time together to grow to like each other, which means their entire relationship is based on, "You're pretty." The Northern Water Tribe still refuses to teach Katara, but without the Southern foreshadowing, that's kinda out of nowhere. She and Parku do still have their fight, but even when the wall is falling down and the Fire Nation are invading, he still refuses to let women see combat. In fact, the only reason he really changes his mind on this point is because the head of the healers asks him to, after she had already argued the other side a few minutes earlier. Like, if she had wanted equality, she easily could have said something at a less deadly moment. It just feels like a mess. Also, the Suki thing kind of feels like she only exists to be the love interest now. Like, if you removed her, nothing would really change. And Katara, without that internal drive, constantly fighting for her place from the beginning, we don't have that really good role model for girls who are living in a sexist society themselves. Ours. Which feels like sexism. You flattened two of the coolest characters. You removed soccer's sexism to make the series itself sexist. Good job! And this fell so flat that when a comedy site quote-unquote reported, as a joke, that in Season 2 Toph would not be blind, a large number of people believed that, because it was in line with what we have. So, yeah. There are some good things in this series. I really liked that the crew of Zuko's ship were specifically the battalion of new recruits that he saved by speaking up in the war room, leading to his scarring and banishment. But mostly, it's a problem. Good side though, there's more animated Avatar on the way, so that's awesome at least. I really hope it is. Apparently Season 2 of the live action has been greenlit, and I will watch it, I just don't have very high hopes. Anyway, those are my thoughts. Thank you so much for watching my little writing rants. If you liked them, please like, comment, subscribe. There's always more madness on the way. And what do you think? Did you enjoy the series? What was your favourite part? Or least favourite? Let me know in the comments. I hope you have a lovely rest of your day. See you next time.